So hello and welcome everybody to the Bare Bones Fishing YouTube channel. My name is Mike. Thank you very much for tuning in. So what I'm going to do on this video is I'm going to respond to a viewer comment. And so I'm going to scroll down here and just show you. So Michael Upchurch asked, I need to know how to read your fish finder. How can you see the fish? And so that's what I'm going to do in this video. So to give you some context here, I posted this video last year, and this is me vertical jigging out of the central basin in Lake Erie. And this would have been late summer, possibly early fall. So generally in this area, I'm trolling, but on this day, I decided to put the trolling rods away and give vertical jigging a try. And so what I'd like to do is just kind of go through some of the video footage here and explain to you what I'm looking for on my 2D sonar. And so let's take a look at the footage. Okay, these large, thick red lines, those are fish that are coming under the boat currently. Okay, and if you scroll over to the right-hand side, you'll notice that this thinner line, okay, that's going up and down, that's actually my jig. Okay, and you can see that I was actually jigging up here. Okay, and then I dropped my line down to this area here once I saw the fish going through the screen. And so let's play the footage here. Okay, and so you can see that this line here kind of disappears. Okay, but I want you to take a really close look up here, and you'll notice that something happens really soon. And so you'll notice here that this line starts to get thicker right there. There it is. And so now I've got a fish that is right around my jig. All right, and there's my jig up there. That is a fish right there. And so right now I know that there's a fish right around my jig. Okay, and so I'm paying close attention, and boom, there we go. So once again, it's not super crystal clear, okay? But generally speaking, you'll be able to see your lure, because as you jig, there's going to be the line going up and down, up and down. And if you see a solid line that's staying flat, especially as you can see it here, that would indicate a fish. And if there's a fish nearby, this is when I'm kind of like at attention, if you will. And so anyway, we end up landing this guy. And so let's fast forward to, there it is there. And pretty exciting stuff because, like I said, I'm usually trolling at this time of year. All right, so this next clip, all right, so I'm jigging off of the bottom in this case. So you can see my jig, boom, 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 just these little bumps down on the bottom, okay? And then all of a sudden, this comes off the bottom, shooting off the bottom, and that is a fish going straight up. So I end up bringing my lure up to the area where I saw that fish go, okay? So I must have spooked it down here. All right, so now all I do is I bring my jig up. You can see my jig going up and down, up and down. Okay, I'll just pause it and make it a little bit clearer. So you can see me jigging right here, going up and down, up and down. And so essentially what I'm doing is I'm just bringing my jig to the level at where I saw that fish last. Okay, and so I'm bringing it there, just kind of dangling it around. And now you can see right there, just before I set the hook, that line got a lot thicker, indicating that the fish came back to my lure, and obviously it did because I ended up landing him. So that's kind of what happened here. So I was jigging off of the bottom, and then all of a sudden, whoop, spooked a fish. It came up, and so I brought my lure up as fast as I could, started jigging it around that same area that the fish ended up stopping at, and hoped that it was still around, and lo and behold, it was. So if we go to the next clip here. All right, so you can see here, I was jigging in the middle of the water column, and then I dropped my jig all the way down, okay? And I was bouncing off of the bottom here for a little bit until I saw this line come through my screen, which indicates a fish. And once again, it's a little difficult to see, but there's a little dots right here that are going up, and that's actually my jig. And so I'm reeling my jig up once again to that zone where I see the fish at, and now that's where I stop reeling up, and now I'm just going to jig my jig in that area there. And it's not actually popping up on the 2D sonar, but I know that I'm in this general vicinity, and there it is. So now you can see my lure pops up and the fish actually pops up. So right here, that dotted line, the really small dotted lines, okay, that's my jig. This right here would be a fish. All right, and so you can see that there's a fish kind of swimming around my jig right now, and you could see I set the hook there, so it's obviously bumping. And so you can see, there we go, got them. And so we got the fish and the jig on the screen there. And there's actually, if I scroll back just a tad, you'll notice that there's actually a second fish there. So that's my jig and the fish going up, and there's a fish that's actually staying right down there as well. And so anyhow, that's how I read my 2D sonar when I'm trying to jig for walleye, and in this case it was in open water. I have forward facing sonar now, which absolutely makes this a little bit easier, but you can absolutely do this with just a 2D sonar and a little bit of patience and practice and have yourself a fantastic time. So anyways, hopefully that answered your question there, Michael, and hope everyone's doing well. I'll catch you on the next one.